Happy Monday morning. We are live with Oscar from Litum. Oscar, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Evan. How are you doing?
Good to have you here. This is a topic of interest to me. RTLS, another four-letter acronym, which we're going to have to decode today, real-time location services and systems. So tell us about yourself, Litum, and why should a layperson care about RTLS?
All right. Well, thanks for having me, Evan. It's very nice to be here. RTLS stands for Real-Time Location Services, and it allows people to track everything in an indoors environment. So when you look at an actual floor plan of your facility, be it an office environment or a factory or an oil and gas refinery, you just look at an actual map and you pinpoint your people, your assets, your vehicles, and you'll visualize the locations of everything that are tagged in very, very accurate manners. What's more important is that then you can create your own business rules. You can define geofences, you can create business rules, and you can basically automate your processes based on time and location data, which are quite critical.
Wow, so this is a long time coming in wireless IoT. We used to call it, but there are a lot of technologies coming together, including your story. Tell us about yourself, the team, behind Litum, and the founding journey into this RTLS space.
Right. So I'm one of the co-founders of the company. We've established Litum back in 2004. Back then, I was at a grad school. I was about to finish my first semester. And then the idea came up to one of our co-founders, and it sounded so interesting that I couldn't focus on school anymore and dropped out and established the company with two of my other co-founders. That's basically how the company was formed back in 2004. We're about to enter our 20th year next year,
Wow,
actually. So it's been a very
congratulations.
long time in this business. A very fast growing company. When you look at our numbers and statistics, Litum grows at a minimum of 50 to 60% year over year. It dominates the overall RTLS market. We've grown to be almost a 200 people team right now. We operate in more than 50 countries worldwide. So we don't just focus in North America or Europe, but we focus in almost all continents of the world. And typically work with large Fortune 500 organizations and help them solve some of the critical problems, but primarily around safety and efficiency initiatives.
Yeah, we're going to dive into some of the use cases and applications, which are really intriguing. But describe the RTLS landscape. You have a number of competitors. Obviously, you've carved out this dominant position. But how have you done that? Is it functionality? Is it performance? What's been your secret sauce, as it were?
Yeah, there are a couple of things. Well, there are a lot of technologies that can be considered as RTLS. So we need to first, build around that fact. Some companies use Wi-Fi, as you suggested, and some companies use some of the other proprietary technologies. Litum provides its solutions based on ultra-wideband RTLS, or referred to as UWB as an acronym.
Mm.
What's interesting with ultra wideband is that it allows us to provide really accurate location data.
Mm.
Remember, we look at a map and we pinpoint exact positions of objects. With ultra wideband, your accuracy is down to centimeters. With Wi-Fi or with some of the other technologies like BLE or with other applications in the market, it goes up to 20, 25 meters. So in one part, you get some location, you get an idea of where something might be in a floor. With ultra wideband, you pinpoint down to centimeter level of accuracy. What this translates in real life examples is that, let's give an example from healthcare. A doctor is trying to locate a patient. If they are using our solution, they know exactly which bed the patient is in. But if they're
Wow.
using another technology, they know that the patient is maybe in the fifth floor, but they have no idea where in the fifth floor they are. So this is one big difference in terms of the technology that we use and why it's important in the landscape. And then, when you look at competition, we do have competitors, obviously, but our competitors changes from industry to industry. Litum focuses in multiple industries. We focus in healthcare. We focus in manufacturing. Supply chain logistics is one of our core vertical markets. Smart buildings. So, we don't only focus in one vertical market, but when you look at the competitive landscape, most of our competitors either focus in healthcare, or they focus in automotive manufacturer, or they focus in supply chain logistics. So they have good products, good solutions that only work in a certain single type of a vertical market. But we play in multiple industries. We learn from all of them, and then we build back that experience into our product. And this is one of the primary reasons why we believe our solutions are so unique in the marketplace today.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And now that I think of it, ultra wideband, that's in my iPhone, right? So
Yes,
when
it
I'm trying
is.
to
Yeah,
find my keys and it finds them in that one
it's the trick.
spot under the couch, I kind of get it. And talk about some of the challenges in designing and deploying RTLS systems. These are pretty tough environments, right? Warehouses,
Yeah.
hospitals. How do you go about that process?
Right. It's a very good question. So, yes, so RTLS solutions, one of the weak points or one of the complex points is design changes from industry to industry and location to location. At the end of the day, this is a radio frequency type of an application, and RF is same all across the board. If you're deploying a Wi-Fi based system, you go on site and you kind of design your system based on strong points in terms of coverage. It's very
Mm,
similar in our technology as well. So if there's metal, if there's concrete, if there are lots of moving metallic objects, we need to know those, and we need to be able to design the system based on these constraints. So the solutions are typically not plug and play, but it requires a lot of experience and a lot of engineering design behind it. We have a large team of technical engineers, and once we start analyzing a project, we work with the customer. It starts with educating the customer first, because the customers dream of a solution where it's plug and play, and then when they order them, it'll be live in a month or so. It's not the case with RTLS. You have to do a lot of design and analysis before that. That's why it is going to be really important to evaluate, do an engineering review of a site, and be able to design the network, the wireless mesh network that will be collecting data from the tags. And then environment to environment, it changes. We operated in oil and gas, one of the most challenging environments.
mm,
The overall refinery, as you know, is full of metal. It's kind of like a metal cage.
mm.
In order for the system to accurately work, you need to really be careful in terms of where you position your infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, I mean our gateways and anchors. Anchors collect data from our tags, they push this data to our gateways, and then gateways are connected to the server. This is a brief architectural design. It's a mesh network. So in that case, in oil and gas, when we look at a refinery, that's how we kind of locate where we install the gateways and anchors. Healthcare is relatively simple. And in that kind of an environment, we look at the concrete density and the overall location accuracy requirements of a hospital. But overall, it's all about structure. What's the concrete density, what's the metal density, and how you position your infrastructure are vital. It requires a lot of engineering review.
That's fascinating. And you mentioned healthcare, and anyone who's been lost in a hospital understands the challenge of navigating, through a hospital environment. And you mentioned oil and gas. What are some of the sectors, the industries that are seeing most impact or ROI, from your solutions?
Right. Healthcare is obviously one of them. And I can give you some real life examples
Mm,
of some of the solutions and the value we create for our customers. But healthcare is one industry. Some of the others are supply chain logistics. We
mm.
are very actively involved in large or supply chain logistics applications where ROI is quite interesting. Oil and gas, for sure. Construction, we do have a lot of construction deployments where the systems generate interesting ROIs for the customers. When I say interesting, I usually mean less than 1 year. And when you look at the investment size and the value generated against it, it's quite attractive. So as I mentioned earlier, the two main pillars of our technology is safety and efficiency. So those are where the value is coming from. Our systems increase the safety of an environment, of a workplace, and it also increases the efficiency. Let me give you some examples from real life deployments. When I say safety, I mean our solutions are geared towards forklift collision warning systems, for instance. We equip forklifts with our collision warning controllers units, and then we give out tags for pedestrians, for employees. And then you set up a safe zone. You tell the forklift to sound an alarm, an alert, if a forklift is like 9 feet or 12 feet away from a pedestrian. And these are all parametrically controlled by the users. If the forklift violates the safe zone you create, it behaves differently. So when I say differently, it may trigger an audible alert. It may slow down the forklift automatically, or we can put the forklift to complete stop by decelerating it gradually. This makes sure that bodily accidents are totally prevented by controlling the forklift. This is our forklift collision warning system. In connection to that, we also provide real-time forklift tracking systems. This is mainly for the efficiency of the forklift. So when you look at an actual floor plan, let's say it's a distribution center, you have 300 forklifts operating. You can know exactly where each forklift is, who operates which forklift, and what are the utilization times, which forklift is being operated by how long, by whom. So a lot of our customers use this data for fleet analytics. Lots of real life examples, like a division goes to the purchasing department, requires them to buy new forklifts. Mostly the purchasing managers don't have any data at all. They don't know if the existing forklift fleet is being utilized, if it's utilized more than normal, under average. So, all the decision-making criteria is based on just verbal communication. But a customer who deploys our solution, they have all the kind of data that they need to really make an informed decision. By analyzing our data, they know which forklifts or which groups of forklifts are utilized more in which shifts, which forklifts are idle, and then they can divert traffic if needed. But sometimes the request might be real, but at least they make data-driven decisions by deploying a solution like that. So we make companies more efficient in terms of their purchasing decisions. And then when you create location with safety, you can apply some really interesting behaviors like end-of-aisle slowdowns. A forklift exiting from a narrow aisle, there might be other traffic which is not visible. Lots of accidents happen because of this reason. So our system understands that a forklift is approaching end of an aisle, and it automatically slows down the forklift to its minimum speed, make sure that there is no safety risk. And then once the system decides that there's no safety risk, it gives back the control to an operator, and the operator can speed up to its normal speed. In some days, a certain part of the warehouse might be too busy with pedestrians. Like it might be a special day where there's lots of picking, there's lots of packaging, lots of pedestrians. You can create an exclusion zone, a geofence area. Once you create that exclusion zone, forklift entrance traffic might be, you may limit the traffic there. These are some of the additional safety-related features that our system is being used today in real-life examples. This is more on the forklift safety efficiency side. There's much more in healthcare or construction. I can give you more examples if those are interesting.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, you've built a technology that has so many different use cases. I can only imagine you must be discovering more with new clients every day. So I wonder
Yes.
how do you keep track of the technology stack? I mean, you have all these wireless standards overlapping. You have, new silicon and embedded software solutions to support RTLS. That must be quite a job to manage your roadmap.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it requires a very skilled and diverse team that are responsible of various aspects of the business. Our quality department is responsible of global certification and regulation process. Each country, unfortunately, they have their own certification requirements. In the United States, we have FCC. When you go to Canada, it's IC. When you go to Europe, it's CE. And then you have other countries where they have their own local regulations and requirements. So we've built a team that manages that kind of effort to help our product be certifiable in all the countries we operate. And we operate in 50 countries. This means there's a lot of certification that we have to go through. From a hardware technology perspective, we have a research and development team that looks after all the new technologies and the silicons and the chipsets that are being launched to the market. So they're on top of new technologies and decide which chip is the best to work with. We have a global supply chain and logistics team that are very creative and skilled in terms of locating the product, locating the raw material in different parts of the world. We've just faced one of the toughest crises in the world, which I'm sure you're aware of, which is the microcontroller availability. Tough times, but having a skilled team that's truly responsible of this allowed us to be on top of everything, be able to fulfill all the very large market demand we are seeing in our business. And then we have the software. Software is extremely important in any RTLS deployment. Our hardware sensors collect billions and billions of data points. What you do with that data is all around software, machine learning, and AI. So we've been investing extensively in building our software capabilities, building a very interesting software team that can manage that kind of data and provide meaningful reports and meaningful decision support systems for our customers.
Fantastic. And, talk about scalability. I imagine you talk about scaling up, but you often have to scale down for smaller enterprises. How do you adapt to those different environments? Do you provide the complete solution from the software application for the user right down to the infrastructure? How does that work?
Yes, Litum is an end-to-end solution provider. What this means is we design and build all of our hardware, all of our middleware and software, and we provide a lot of on-site professional services. We also have an in-house factory where we produce all of our hardware, where we manufacture all of our hardware. Again, this is one interesting value proposition of the company. This allows our customers to deal with a single source where they can get a turnkey solution for their deployments. Scalability is very important in this line. It can start with single unit deployments. We just publicly announced a new aftermarket program with Hyster-Yale. Hyster-Yale is one of the world's largest forklift OEMs, and we've been working very closely for the past several years. The aftermarket program allows their dealer network to distribute our collision warning units to their aftermarket fleet. This means that a company owning one or two forklifts can deploy our solution. But then we have enterprise customers where they deploy tens of thousands of forklifts. So this shows how scalable the system is. It can be 1 or 2 units, or it can be up to 10,000 units. On the extreme side, we have a lot of experience deploying very large and complex global ultra-wideband based systems. We're probably one of the largest in the market from a volume perspective. One example is, I can't name the customer, but it's a very large financial asset management company, a globally known financial asset management company. We deployed a pandemic safety solution for them a couple of years ago. The system started with a single floor of a building, and then an entire building, and then a region, and then the country, and then globally. At the end of the project, we reached more than 35 buildings, campuses, in 4 countries where our system managed up to 70,000 employees and provided safety systems for 70,000 employees. From a scalability perspective in ultra-wideband, this is unseen. A typical ultra-wideband RTLS deployment is like 500 to 2,000 tags. That's typical. This experience is scaled up to 70,000 tags, which means being able to process that kind of data in real time in multiple buildings in different time zones all over the world. That's what true scalability means, and it's very complex because it's complex in terms of IT structure, data center, the way you manage all these hundreds of billions of data points. So that's as complex a system can get, but it can also be 1 or 2 units. That's the beauty. You're not limited with scale.
Fantastic. So tell me, you're an expert in this space, obviously. How do you see RTLS evolving over the next few years? What are the big things on your radar that you're excited about?
Um, we touched on data. For me, especially, that's probably one of the most exciting parts of RTLS in the near future. The data is both location and time, and location in a very precise manner. The things that you can do with these kinds of valuable data is quite interesting after you apply AI and machine learning technologies on top of it. In our roadmap, and from a customer demand perspective, we see an interesting future with efficiency optimization types of use cases. Again, give an example in a forklift fleet. The way you can route your forklifts from a shortest path, like a shortest path calculation in an indoor warehouse. These are some of the intelligent things we're looking at in terms of next steps. So data is the key. The things that you can do with this kind of interesting data is limitless. On the other side, RTLS, we currently focus in ultra wideband, but ultra wideband is not the right fit for any kind of use case. There are other data collection technologies like GPS for outdoor traceability, LoRaWAN again for outdoor traceability, Bluetooth Low Energy protocols, GSM for connectivity. Therefore, we see an interesting future for companies that can bring all these technologies, all these data collection points under a single roof. You cannot have multiple software platforms to manage data coming in from different technologies. Data may come from 10 or 15 different data points, but then you need to have a single software source where you manage everything. Again, we see an interesting future in terms of bringing in data from these multiple technology stacks and providing AI-based, learning-based systems for our customers. These are some of the interesting areas that we see in the near future.
That's fantastic. That's probably a whole nother discussion around AI data-driven applications. So thinking about going beyond the campus or the warehouse or the manufacturing site into a town or a city, it seems like you're a good fit with smart cities and other use cases which are, go, across many, many kilometers. Is that something you're getting involved with?
Yes, totally in our radar, and we see an increased number of investments in different parts of the world where governments are investing in smart cities, trying to make cities more efficient in terms of energy, in terms of transportation, in terms of education, and many similar verticals. So this is definitely in our radar. Uh, Again, smart cities for us is all about how we manage data. Data can be collected by IoT sensors. Data can be collected by temperature sensors, humidity, environmental sensors. What we're interested is what are the types of things we can create with that kind of valuable data. So for us, smart cities are all about utilizing incoming location data, running our AI algorithms, and then creating automated decision support systems for the users. So it's definitely one area we're concentrated extensively on these days.
Fantastic thing to watch. So as we wrap up, you've had a fantastic journey as a founder and entrepreneur. Any advice to aspiring entrepreneurs getting into tech from your journey,
Yeah.
personally, professionally?
Yeah, I talk to them every day. I meet with them. It's the landscape is quite dynamic and energetic. A couple of points. Well, first of all, creating a tech startup is not the easiest thing in the world. It's full of challenges, full of roadblocks. So to me, what has been the most valuable was resilience. Never giving up, never quitting, and always trying new things once you hit a roadblock. So this is one fundamental advice I give to anyone that I speak to, and I remind myself every day when I wake up because it doesn't stop. this is our 20th year. Still, we have similar, things. That's what keeps the company dynamic and fast paced. So resilience is definitely something that's really important. Um, Trying new things has always been another advice that I give to people. Don't hesitate to try new approaches, try new technologies, experiment. Don't be afraid of failure, because you learn from your failures. Failures makes any one of us more stronger every day. So I think that that's very valuable as well. And very early on, invest in your team. A successful team makes the company successful. So the stronger your team is, the better you'll be in your future. So those are some of the things I can mention to early starters and new startups.
Well, wonderful advice. Congratulations on all the success. Onwards and upwards. The opportunities seem limitless for you and the team. And thanks so much for sharing, your insights and journey. It's been fascinating to watch, and we'll keep an eye out. Well, thanks so much for
My
watching,
pleasure.
everyone. Thanks, Oscar, and look forward to
All right.
your continued success. All right.
All right. Thanks, Evan.
Bye
Thanks
bye.
for having me.